The night was supposed to be a cruel joke. That's what Emma realized the moment she walked into the fancy restaurant, her heart beating nervously as she smoothed down the edges of her thrift store dress. She didn't have much, just her quiet job at the bookstore, her rent barely covered, and her quiet prayers at night that life would get better. When her co-workers told her they had set her up on a blind date, she thought maybe, just maybe, something kind was waiting for her. She never knew it was meant to humiliate her. At the corner table, a group of well-dressed women whispered, smirked, and stole glances at her. Emma tried to ignore the sharp sting in her chest and focused on finding her supposed date. Then her eyes landed on him. He was nothing like she expected. Tall, sharp suit, dark hair slightly messy in a way that made him seem approachable yet impossibly refined. His presence pulled all attention in the room, as though he wasn't just a man, he was the sun everyone revolved around. His name was Daniel, though she didn't know it yet. To her, he was just the stranger whose eyes softened when they met hers. He rose from his chair politely, as if she were royalty stepping into the room. Emma's voice wavered when she greeted him, her insecurity whispering that this couldn't be real. Why would someone like him be her date? Surely, this was part of the joke. But instead of mocking her, Daniel smiled, and that smile seemed to disarm the entire evening. As they sat, Emma noticed the hushed laughter from the nearby table where her co-workers sat, their phones angled, recording everything. Daniel leaned closer, speaking in a low voice, "Do you know them?" Emma hesitated, her throat tight, then confessed quietly, "They set me up, as a joke." She braced herself for him to laugh too, for his charm to shatter into cruelty. But his jaw tightened, his expression darkening as his gaze flicked toward the whispering group. "That's not funny," he said, his tone cold enough to silence them from across the room. Dinner unfolded differently than Emma expected. Instead of a disaster, it felt like something out of a dream. Daniel asked about her passions, listened when she talked about her love of books, and told her about raising his 6-year-old daughter alone. He didn't flaunt his wealth, though she noticed the subtle signs, the way the staff greeted him with respect, the car keys he placed on the table, the tailored suit that fit him perfectly. He wasn't just some man on a blind date. He was powerful, grounded, and yet vulnerable when he spoke about his daughter's late mother. For the first time in years, Emma felt seen, truly seen. The women at the corner, however, didn't give up. One of them finally approached, smirking. "Daniel, you don't need to pity her. We just thought it would be funny," but before she could finish, Daniel stood, his height towering, his voice carrying through the restaurant. "Funny? To tear down someone as genuine as her? To make her the center of your cruelty?" His words froze the room. The laughter died instantly. Emma's cheeks burned with humiliation, but before she could escape, Daniel did something no one expected. He knelt down right there, in front of her stunned co-workers, and took Emma's trembling hand in his. The restaurant held its breath. Emma's eyes widened, her lips parting in shock. "What are you?" But Daniel's gaze never wavered. "Emma, I know this is sudden. But I can't stand by while they laugh at you. I don't want this moment to define you as a joke. I want to rewrite it into something unforgettable. You're the most real woman I've met in years, and I want the world to know it. So, will you give me the honor of being by my side, not just tonight, but for a lifetime?" Gasps echoed around them. The co-workers' smug grins dissolved into pale silence. Emma's heart thundered, her mind spinning. A proposal? Tonight? To her? The girl who came in wearing second-hand clothes and trembling nerves? She could barely breathe, but her soul whispered that this wasn't pity. It was something deeper. Something that shook even Daniel as he looked at her like she was the only thing that mattered in his world. Emma's hands trembled as tears welled in her eyes. She glanced at the cruel faces of her co-workers, then back at Daniel's sincerity. I don't understand," she whispered. Daniel smiled gently. "You don't need to understand tonight. Just trust me. Let me be the man who stands up for you when others try to tear you down. My daughter needs a role model. And I think I've found someone strong enough to change both our lives." Whispers erupted around them, phones recording, cameras flashing. Emma's co-workers, once smug, were now humiliated, caught in the act of cruelty that had backfired spectacularly. Some tried to laugh it off, others hid their faces, but the damage was done. Daniel wasn't just a man, he was a CEO, a single father known in the city for his empire, and now, everyone knew where his heart was pointing. Straight at Emma. Emma's voice cracked as she finally answered, yes. Yes, I'll take the chance. The restaurant erupted in applause, though Emma barely heard it. Daniel rose, pulling her into his arms, shielding her trembling body from the world. For the first time, Emma wasn't invisible. She wasn't a joke. She was chosen, and chosen boldly, in front of everyone. In the days that followed, the story spread like wildfire. Social media lit up with clips of Daniel kneeling, of Emma's stunned expression, of the co-workers' horror. Headlines called it the most unexpected proposal of the year. But for Emma, none of that mattered. What mattered was the way Daniel called her every morning just to hear her voice, the way his daughter ran into her arms with innocent trust, and the way he looked at her when no cameras were around, with devotion, not pity. Her co-workers avoided her after that, embarrassed that their cruel trick had made her the center of something extraordinary. But Emma didn't need their apologies. She had found something much greater. Love that saw past appearances, dignity restored, and a future she never thought possible. One evening, weeks later, Emma stood in Daniel's penthouse, the city lights glittering like stars behind them. His daughter was asleep in her room, and Daniel poured Emma a glass of wine. He touched her hand, his voice soft but firm. I meant every word that night. I didn't propose to save you. I proposed because, from the moment I saw you, I knew my life had been missing someone like you. Emma smiled through tears, finally believing him. The cruel joke that was supposed to break her had instead given her the greatest gift. And as Daniel kissed her forehead in whispered promises of a forever they would build together, Emma realized that life had its way of turning pain into miracles. And dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, remember, sometimes love finds us in the most unexpected places, even in moments meant to break us. Never stop believing in your worth, because the right person will see it, even when the world doesn't. And if you want to hear more heart-touching stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because the next story we share might just change the way you see love forever.